Welcome to Capital City News, your source for staying informed and engaged with Salt Lake City government. I'm your host, Yusuf Mong. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at construction on 1100 East and Highland Drive. We're going to be talking about the Jordan River and an upcoming Earth Day cleanup, and taking a look at the Cathedral of the Madeleine. We've got a lot to get through, but first, our look backs, our look aheads, and our legislative update.
At its March 21st meeting, the City Council received a briefing about a proposal to establish a new process for locating homeless resource centers and shelters within the city. This follows a temporary hold that the Council enacted in 2022 on allowing new shelters in Salt Lake City. The Council also received recommendations from the Mayor on Salt Lake City's grant awards from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. Finally, the Council adopted a joint ceremonial resolution with Mayor Mendenhall recognizing March 31st, 2023 as International Transgender Day of Visibility in Salt Lake City. They held a short follow-up discussion on the current accessory dwelling unit ADU proposal, and they received updates on the 2023 state legislative session and the Utah Community Renewable Energy Agency, also known as Utah 100 Communities. To learn more about these issues or any others, please visit slc.gov/council. The Salt Lake City Police Department held a gun buyback program on Saturday, March 25th at the Public Safety Building. In total, community members turned in 30 firearms, including 4 pistols, 10 revolvers, 6 shotguns, and 10 rifles. This was the second gun buyback program held in Salt Lake City by the police department in more than 2 decades. The firearms collected will either be donated to the Salt Lake City Police Mutual Aid Association's museum or the Salt Lake City Police Department's crime lab, or they will be destroyed.
You know, sometimes I get tired of all the constant construction here in Salt Lake City, but then I remember that I too am a work in progress. On that note, let's take a look at some construction on 1100 East and Highland Drive.
Construction on Highland Drive and 1100 East began in February. This one-lane configuration has expanded up to 2100 South. The intersection of 2100 South and Highland Drive is anticipated to occur in mid to late summer of 2023. Work between 2100 South and 1700 South is expected to occur through 2024.
For more highlights on construction in and around the city, feel free to stay tuned or check slc.gov/construction. For our interview this week, we speak to Katie Reiser from the Mayor's office about the Jordan River and an upcoming Earth Day cleanup.
The Jordan River provides so many benefits to our community. It offers sanctuary for wildlife and for people. It's a place of respite and recreation. It's a 17-mile stretch that flows from Utah County all the way up into the Great Salt Lake. And this is the bottom of the watershed. So even though you might live across town, what goes down your storm drain is going to flow into our creeks and ultimately flow into our Jordan River. We all have a responsibility and an impact on the river, and we invite you to come take part in the stewardship of this river and to connect with it. Your connection to the river allows us to protect the river. We want to invite community to come out and participate with us in our Earth Day River Cleanup on April 22nd. We're inviting volunteers from across the city to come join us here at the Jordan River to take part in over 20 different projects that will be happening the entire stretch of Salt Lake City's river. From 2100 south up to nearly 2300 north, we'll have a variety of projects. We're inviting the community to come take part jumping in canoes, floating the river, removing trash and debris from within the river. We'll have projects working along the banks and the trail of the river to remove trash and other pollution along our parks and our open space. We'll have groups that are planting trees into various parks and open spaces along the river as well. It's a great event to bring in family and your kids to come out and connect with the river in a way that maybe you haven't ever experienced before. We invite people to come and visit our website. From there you can find information about the Earth Day event, what projects are happening, all the amazing partners that are involved, and sign up. There are links to sign up and register for the event. Those volunteers who join us will come together for a volunteer check-in and a community breakfast that's free for all those participating, and then we'll break up and go to our project sites up and down the river.
And now for this week's History Minute, where we take a look at the Cathedral of the Madeleine. Madeleine? 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 Maddie? Cathedral of the Madeleine.
When Father Lawrence Scanlon came to the Utah Territory as a Catholic missionary in 1873, he had his work cut out for him. His parish was the largest in the country, 85,000 square miles, but was home to a single church and had only 800 Catholics. Traveling the state and establishing churches across Utah as he went, he grew the Catholic presence and worked to maintain a cordial relationship with the LDS Church as well. He oversaw the creation of the Holy Cross Hospital and a variety of schools in and around Salt Lake City. Realizing the Catholic population in Salt Lake City had outgrown its church, Scanlon purchased the land to build a cathedral in 1890. The very next year, the Diocese of Salt Lake was created, and Scanlon was named its first ever bishop. Construction of the cathedral began in 1900 and was completed by 1909, designed by Salt Lake architects Carl M. Neuhausen and Bernardo Mecklenburg. It's built in a neo-Romanesque design on the outside, but its interior is built in the neo-Gothic. It's the only cathedral in the United States devoted to the patronage of St. Mary Magdalene. Some say Bishop Scanlon chose her because her traditional feast takes place just 2 days before the ever-popular Pioneer Day celebrations. Bishop Scanlon died in 1915 and was entombed inside the cathedral, his crowning achievement. Under his leadership, the Catholic Church increased in size to include 27 priests, 24 churches, 2 hospitals, an orphanage, half a dozen schools and colleges, and a Catholic population of 13,000. Above his tomb rests a first-class relic of St. Mary Magdalene, an honor that only one other cathedral in the entire world can claim. From the 1970s to the 1990s, the building was restored and updated to reflect changes made to most Catholic churches after the Second Vatican Council. Today, it stands tall and proud in a Salt Lake City much different than the one it was built in.
That's it for another episode of Capital City News. Remember, the best way to stay engaged is to stay informed. You can do that by following us on social media at SLCGov, subscribing to us on YouTube, or tuning into Channel 17. Reporting in from Salt Lake City, I'm Yusuf Mong.